And welcome back, everyone, to Overtime. As we teased earlier, we have a special guest here on the interview couch. So honored to have with us none other than St. Joe head football coach John Baker. And I should rephrase that because should put before his name John Baker. How about this? 5-time state championship head football coach at St. Joe, John Baker. So honored once again, Coach, for you joining us here on Overtime tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. And I know, Coach, start off, as we mentioned, 5 state championships, and I just thought about this too right before we started our interview. I was thinking, St. Joe is located on VFW Road, you told me, but I said, man, maybe they need to change that road to Championship Circle because you won 5 state titles. But you look at those championship teams that you've coached now, has there been like a common thread, one denominator of some type that ties all your teams, your championship teams together?
Yeah, there's of course the expectations were set years into the process, but it's a continuous process that happens year in, year out. Summer lifting to practices, everything being structured on time. That kind of helps get everything together.
And you brought the championship trophy as well, the last one that you won. I was going to ask you if you can bring all 5, but that just would have been, we might have had to have a truck or some kind of pallet or something to roll all those titles in. I don't know if we had enough room to fit them all through the door, but we appreciate you bringing this one by. But you look at your 5 state titles, Coach, is one more special than the other?
That's a tough question. That's something we do every year too. I sit them down in the hallway and show them the pictures of the previous state championship winners, and each team was completely different. Back in 19 it was all offense. This last year all defense. Yeah. So I mean, it all depends on the players you got at the time and who's coming through the program and where they are in that stage of the process.
And I've often heard that sometimes teams take on the personalities of their head coach. Has that been the case at all with these state championship teams? Do you see perhaps a reflection of self in your teams?
Not so much. A lot of our assistant coaches, look, you're only as good as those you surround yourself with. And I'm going to tell you something. We've got some of the best assistant coaches you could ever ask for. We got some of the best around. And a lot of those, you see a lot of them take personalities away from this coach or that coach, and it makes for a fun season. So.
And you look back at this last championship that you won, the 2023 title. You had mentioned that this was probably the most difficult one. Why?
Well, you're offensively, we had to completely restructure everything. We had 2 returning starters this year on offense, and that makes for a difficult season. As a coach and on the high school level, you don't want to go out there and say, we're going to go run a spread just because I like to run the spread. You got to run whatever the program has for you there, what's in the program at the time. And so, we had to become a more run-oriented team. And we had to come up with a shorter passing game, a little bit more quick-hitting stuff. So, and it changes. It'll change again next year. But when you only have 2 returning offensive starters, it's tough. You got to figure it out quickly.
Let's talk a little about the state championship game that you had. You not only was the season you mentioned different than some other state championships, but this particular game with Kirk, it was one of those defensive slugfests that you won 6-0.
We had to kind of find ourselves during the state championship game, but we buckled down and did what we do best. Just block down, kick out, run the ball.
This game really wasn't decided to the final play, a big defensive stop by your team as they were driving in the red zone there. What was going through your mind there those last few seconds?
Just tackle them in bounds.
Yeah.
Don't let them get out of bounds. And we have a player, Chris Moore, who made a tremendous play. Receiver caught the ball at the 3-yard line, and he didn't get an inch. Chris didn't let go, didn't let him go out of bounds. He held on for dear life and got him to the ground.
Well, Coach, it is now time for us to take our first time out of this interview part of Overtime. But when we return, we're going to talk a little about how he got started in coaching and how much gas he still has in the tank to coach, because he's been doing this for over 2 decades. Much more with Coach John Baker here on your Overtime. We'll be right back.